If you have watched my show for just a couple of minutes or even 20 seconds, you know one thing about me, that I love history. I think about it all the time. I talk about it all the time. I love old things. I love old relics. I love this old TV set. I love all the stuff that we have on the set. Anything that came before me that shows me what people have done, what they've built, what they tried and failed sometimes. It shows us that we've been blessed. I am honored to be the owner, or I shouldn't say the owner, the caretaker of many of these things. I mean, I know that makes me odd, but I don't think so. I think Americans love their history. I mean, we're a young nation, but we love to learn about our past. If there's somebody that will teach it to us that's excited about it. And there's a good reason for it, really. I mean, our past is where we discover who we really are as a nation and what we inherited as children. We inherit certain things from our parents and our grandparents and our great-great-grandparents and our great-great-great-great-great-grandparents. We inherited certain things from those who came before us. And it is critical that we know what those things are. Otherwise, we leave our inheritance on the table and it just washes away. And we don't even miss it because we don't even know what we lost. That's why I wish that the person who sat at this desk, the people who come into this office who advise him, took the time and stopped thinking about the next news cycle, the next attack ad, the next election. But they would stop and they would take the time and walk over here to the bookshelf. And they would once in a while pull off a book and they would read it. The books aren't just for decoration, you know. Well, I mean, actually, these are. It's a set, but the books aren't for decoration. They have access to everything. For the first time in human history, you can read about anything. You can see it in their own handwriting. History tells us who we are, all in the pages of a book. What we built, what problems we faced, how we overcame them. The people who worked in this office just now and then, every once in a while, wouldn't it be nice if they read their own history? Because if they did, they would learn soon enough that some of the biggest problems that they face are small compared to the problems that people faced that came before them. Some of the solutions that they think will work have been tried, and they've failed over and over and over again. You know what they would learn? They'd learn that America has never been perfect, and America never will be perfect. There was no golden age of America, except those times when we tried our best to be our best. Maybe they would learn that America has been better than this. And America can be better than this again. The problem we have right now is the people who sit behind this desk have so much going on around them. And most of them are so flawed in nature and in character that they confuse the seal with where they get their power. They confuse action with accomplishment. They don't spend time doing something that would solve a ton of their problems. They don't read. They don't study. They don't learn from the past. You know, history is the greatest weapon against one of mankind's strongest enemies, and it's this: forgetfulness. Why do you write something down? So you don't forget. Forgetfulness is human nature. It's a human trait. I mean, I go to the supermarket and my wife, she can call me in the aisle. Hey, don't forget to get a gallon of milk. And I'd be like, oh, you got it, honey. And I forget. I come home and I had forgotten, what happened to the milk? I didn't write it down. I get ready to leave the office. How many times does this happen to you? You forget where your car keys are. And you're like, how old are your parents? Let me think here. Forgetting how old your parents are, forgetting where you put your car keys, or forgetting to buy milk is one thing. Forgetting our nation's history, what this office means. Why do you think the President of the United States has a Remington? Because he likes cowboys or old statues? Why does he have that picture of the flags around the turn of the century? Why does he have the people here behind his desk, the pictures of his family, to remember where he came from and who he is? If the guy who sat at this desk loved history and would open up a book, he would find that this nation was attacked on our shores. He would find that the enemy worked to infiltrate our populations, that the enemy placed in our city sleeper agents, gathering intelligence, preparing for the day of attack. They watched, they listened, and they attacked. And then the nation took action. They tried to uncover the plots. They disrupted the plans. They found those who were guilty. They killed them. Because in America, we've always believed that treason or treachery, terror is a crime punishable by death. By the way, I wasn't talking about 9/11. I was talking about a time that has happened way in the past, over and over and over again. Can you name 3 incidences like September 11th? Everybody can do Pearl Harbor. Can you name 1 or 2 more? Find it, because they're there. Today, our nation faces a similar threat. The enemy has slipped by our thinly guarded borders, and we don't even know where they are. And when we discover these plotters, we don't even know what to do. We say, well, there's no precedent for this. We don't know what it really. So the people sitting at this desk, working in this office, they make things up as they go along. They bungle the prosecutions. They expose vital intelligence. They give comfort to the enemy. And they allow treachery and treason to build further, all because they don't know history. They didn't know that a prior administration 70 years earlier faced the same issue and developed a plan. And before that, it happened about 100 years ago. Problems are easy to solve if you look to the people who have solved those same problems before. The cost of historic illiteracy can be measured in the lives that have been lost to the terrorist attacks on our cities, the military bases, all because our leaders didn't study their own history. They didn't read. They pretended. Like I'm the first guy to answer the phone. Hello, Oval Office. The first Americans to face a challenge. But they're not the first. They're not the second. They're not even the 50th. The circumstances change. The cast of characters change. The culture changes. But in the end, the challenge is exactly the same. And here it is. You're going to be prosperous or stagnant. You're going to be free or dependent. You're going to have justice or injustice, unity or disunity. Which is it, the individual or the state? These are the choices that every American has ever known, every president has ever faced. Every generation of Americans has been asked to choose. Which one? They're not new choices. Our problems aren't new problems. What's new is the self-imposed ignorance. Ignorance of history, ignorance of what America stood for 236 years, ignorance of what America has learned in those years, ignorance of the success, ignorance of the failures. That's new. You can get ignorant by not learning. But you can also be ignorant just by being arrogant. It'll always be like this. Government will solve the problem. Arrogance.